Welcome everyone, episode 32 of Subject to Change. This is our first international podcast all the way from Bali. Doesn't look like Bali, but we were going to do it outside, but there's loads of fucking noise.
Loads of noise, loads of work being done around the area, a lot of wind, light changing because of the sun. So we had to just come to a more controlled environment in the bar area of this massive villa that we've been blessed to stay in.
Bali is beautiful. Yeah, first international pod. We thought we'd do a cheeky record, had a couple of conversations where we thought this could be some good content, and we thought, fuck it, we'll just go old school. Phones, camera, no equipment. This is like, the bare minimum apart from a $5,000 camera. The bare minimum. So anyone can do this.
We apologise in advance if the sound quality is not as good as it normally is.
Yeah.
But you'll get the good shit once we're back in Sydney. We couldn't really be carrying all the equipment across to this.
Yeah.
It would be just a lot of effort. But before we start off,
go on.
Follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please do.
Like, comment, and share.
Subscribe, follow.
On Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Please rate us 5 stars. Even leave a comment on Apple. So whatever platform you're listening on, we're going to give you 10 seconds to go and
just to chill out and get it done.
Give us 5 stars on Spotify.
Let's go. And there
Beautiful.
we are.
Thank you very much.
So we're in Bali, here for a week for our mate's birthday, in this beautiful villa that he organised. We've had chefs, we've had all this really crazy shit. It's been amazing. And only one of us has got Bali belly, which is pretty good.
It's impressive out of 14.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
That's pretty
good. Take the ratio. That's a very good ratio.
It's a very common thing. Usually you come and just eat some dodgy food or drink some tap water and absolutely just get wee bum, basically.
I've been blessed, touch wood.
Yeah.
That I haven't ever gotten anything of the sort from eating the food out here.
It's very lucky.
But today we've decided to do a podcast. And what is this episode on today, Daniel?
The topic on today is around body count.
Ooh.
We were having a discussion a couple of days ago about, does it matter about your partner's body count? Would you ask them? Would you want them to tell you? And then we also put a story out as well to get people's feedback because, everyone's going to be in that situation where you've asked or been involved and it's going to be on the topic today. And I think it's, I think this is an interesting one because everyone's got a different opinion about it. Some people keep it very secretive. For some people, it's something they never want to disclose.
Yeah.
So I think that it's a good one. And you put a story out, and you had quite a few bits and pieces come back.
Just to start out, do you think body count matters?
Nah. I said before that I thought my body count mattered. So I'd been in a long-term relationship and there was a point where I felt like I hadn't really experienced a lot. And then when I became single, I spent a lot more time casually dating. And then now it kind of doesn't matter to me anymore. So there was a point where it's because I connected minimal body count with lack of experience in life. But now the older I am and the more I've lived and the more things I've done, but I've also slept with more people. I feel like I've also experienced quite a bit as well in terms of dating and my likes, my dislikes, what I'm interested in. I feel like that also comes with sleeping around and dating and just experiencing different things. It's not like you have to sleep with 50, 100 people.
Yeah.
But if you've only slept with one person your whole life and you broke up with that person, you don't really have a buffet or a variety of it's you don't have a variety of different food you've
Women
tried.
are food, apparently.
Yeah, well we're also food as well, but you don't have a variety of food that you've tried. And if anyone disagrees, feel free. Everyone hates me on TikTok anyway. But so personally, but I guess my partner, my ex, she had slept with more people than I had, and no, it didn't. I think at first it kind of bothered me. But
what was the part that bothered you though? Because I feel there's been quite especially in some of the comments we got in regards to this, there's a common theme about the idea of your partner sleeping with a lot of people was more in the idea that those people were potentially within a geographical positioning where you could bump in. So some people were saying, so if they were to live in Bondi and their girlfriend who lives in Bondi slept with 100 guys in Bondi, they would feel a lot differently if their girlfriend had slept with 100 guys while traveling the world.
Yeah, so
You know what
my
I
ex
mean?
had slept with people while traveling. It
Yeah.
wasn't people in the same location.
So I was just like, so it's not even the number, it's just an ego thing coming from your standpoint where, oh my God, I might bump into these guys.
No, it wasn't like that. She did it while she was traveling.
No, not you. I'm just saying for the
Oh,
person
other
that
people.
like wrote in. I was just like, it's more from the way it comes across is that it's an ego issue. It's not the numbers. Because if 100 doesn't matter to you, if she slept with 100 people when she was in Europe and then came back to Australia, and you're probably never going to bump into them, it's never an issue. But if the dynamic was different, where it was 100 within Sydney or within your suburb, then that became the issue. And I think like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You know what I mean?
I think that if it was in the suburb, like, so from my ex, she did it while she was traveling. And look, I'm 29 now. This was when I was like 23, 24. And, you know, a lot changes with like your mindset and what you believe. And, you know, back then, I think the reason why it first affected me, it was an ego thing. I think,
it would be.
You know, it's like some men want to be earning more salary.
Yeah.
Like you want to be the provider. And, you know, the fact that my ex has slept with more people, I don't know, I maybe felt inadequate in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then the more I got into that relationship and understood more about her, I think that kind of like went away. And it's definitely not something, like I wouldn't care now if I was dating someone who slept with more people than me. I wouldn't give a fuck. And
but you know what I find so ironic about it as well? It's like men would love to go on nights out and have as many one night stands as they can, and obviously in order for that to happen, women need to put out. So it's like you want to sleep with women, men want to sleep with women, but yet we'll judge them on the fact that they've got a body count or a high body count. Like it doesn't, again, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Oh yeah, I want to shag around and not actually have to like date loads of girls, just want to do one night stands. In order for that to happen, women need to put out. So then if a woman has a high body count, like how you gonna then judge her for the fact that you want to be having sex with? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it also, I do agree with that. And it's like, yeah, if you want to sleep with them, they have to put out to be able to like do that. So you're going to come across people that are in that situation. I mean, you'd said, you know, if like a bird you were dating and slept with 2,000 people, would that be, I was like, 2,000, even for a bloke, you'd be like, fucking hell, that's a big, like divide that by, let's say, 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot, right? You're busy.
Yeah.
Is that like a job? Is that a profession? You know, guy or girl? This isn't like 2,000. You know, I'd maybe be a bit like, are you all right?
That was just Jay being hyperbolic and doing the extreme. But
hyperbolic, stealing my word.
2000's obviously a lot of 2000's a lot no matter what version of life. Anything that you do 2000 of is a lot. But if it was like, again, body count and the high body counts is very subject.
200 a year.
Yeah, obviously it's 200 years divided by 10. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake. Obviously the high body count again is always going to be subjective. Like having 5 or having 10 could be high to someone.
I also think that, I don't know, let's say you start dating someone and you have like a really good connection with them and you find out they've got a high body count. It's like they slept with all those people, right? And they also ended up with you. Though if those things wouldn't have happened,
you wouldn't have been in the
they
position.
might not have met you.
Yeah.
So it's almost like be grateful that whatever they've been through, whatever they've done, has led them to a situation to be with you. If you're in a happy, loving relationship.
Would you even want to know your partner's body count?
I wouldn't give a fuck. Like with the girl I'm seeing now, I think we've spoke about it, and she asked me, I asked her. And like, she asked me and I was like, I've got no reason to lie. Like, it's not an issue. And at the end of the day, if you're going to be with someone, they judge you because of it, well, then there's an issue there. But it's also like, if you're going to be with someone and they're just asking to be butthurt by the answer, again, there's an issue there. So I asked her as well. And I was like, I don't really care. I didn't ask because it's just, she asked me and I was like, what about you? But I would be honest, 100%. Like, if you're dating someone and they ask you, like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. It's like, well, I don't know. In my mind, when you're dating someone, nothing's off the table.
Yeah.
Like everything is available to be spoken about. And if you take one thing off the table, what else can be taken off? What other secrets do you need to have? And it becomes a bit like, where's the line drawn where the person who you're meant to, you know, love and want to spend the rest of your life with potentially, where's that line drawn where it's like, no, we don't ever discuss that. It's like, I don't think there should be that line.
So you would want to know your partners? Like you would actively ask them? It's like, hey,
it's not like it would be on my mind, but I know like in conversations you always talk about traveling. Tell me some of your like crazy sex stories or one night stands, and it might come up. How many people you slept with out of curiosity?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be as like a burning question, but it's more. It would just come up probably in conversation when talking about like stories like that. Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
What about you?
I don't think I care enough to ask the question.
If she asked you?
Oh, she asked me, I'd say it.
Yeah.
Probably like when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have told the truth, but now I would.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I just don't. For me, as long as the past people that she slept with isn't affecting the current relationships that I'm having with her, then I don't really think it's an issue. So for me, the body count doesn't matter, and I don't care enough to ask. Like if she was asked, or if it came up, like you said, quite organically in conversation, like I would answer the question.
Was this person shocked when you'd said 700?
No, she was fine. She was fine. She thought 700 was pretty low for a 29-year-old. But again, it's one of those things. The past is the past. So if it's not affecting the current you, if there's no past ex or past situationship that's affecting you from an emotional standpoint, then I don't think really it's like my business to ask, you know what I mean?
I also kind of don't mind hearing about stories as well. I'm like, your past is your past, and I'm like, when you're talking about traveling stories or crazy one nights or where's the craziest place you had sex and all that, I'm like, you're finding out these little things about your partner unless you've got a big ego issue.
Yeah, but finding out stories is very different to like...
But that leads into like how many people you've slept with and...
That's a different conversation.
I think all of that can feed into like situations where potentially your ego can be hurt, whether it's like body count, you know, the craziest like place you've shagged or stuff like that. That's all stuff where some people go, oh, I don't really want to know that. Oh no, it makes me uncomfortable. It's like, it's not really their problem, it's your problem. The fact that, you know, you've got such a temperamental ego.
Yeah, that's just some people though. Some people just aren't as open to certain conversations like for you like you or me. So it's just one of those ones. If your partner doesn't want to talk about who they've slept with, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's just something that they just don't want to talk about. I mean, it's their life, it's their past experiences. If they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to talk about it.
Like if I was with someone they didn't want to talk about something, I don't know, I think I'd find that a bit of like an issue.
Why?
I don't know, if I'm like, not in the beginning, but if you're going to be with that person for like, let's say you're with them for 3 years and there's still things that they never want to talk about with you, I'm like, we're meant to be like partners.
Yeah, but you can't like force people to talk about something.
You can't force it. You can't force it, but it's more like, would that like, I don't know, would that make me uncomfortable?
Why does it make you uncomfortable?
I don't know.
It probably should make. I
almost want like just an open book. Let's just have like an open book.
Yeah, but it would make me uncomfortable as a partner if my partner didn't respect the fact that there was something I didn't want to talk about yet.
Curious about that then, because maybe we should ask that, because that's actually like, I just wonder if people would be comfortable being like, are you allowed to have like stuff off limits with, let's say you're married as an example and your wife was like, no, these things I just never want to talk about with you. You'd be like, you're my what? Like, why are there things like off the table? You know?
I don't think
got kids together. We've got this.
I don't think it would be a situation of where it's completely off the table. I think it's all to do with timing. So if after 3 or 4 years you're dating someone, there's something that they still haven't told you. Like I think
after 3 or 4 years is a while. Like.
As a partner, you should be like, I respect this person enough to maybe understand that there's more to more than what I think it is. So obviously it could be something quite traumatic or whatever. If they don't want to talk about it, there's probably a reason for that. It's not going to be because they don't trust you. It's probably because they're probably just not ready to talk about it.
Yeah, fair.
And in the grand scheme of things, 5 years is not very long. Whenever you're planning being a life partner,
to talk about, that's I understand that. Yeah.
Like there's things that we've all gone through that we're probably not at a point that we want to talk about it, and it's up to us to speak about it when we're ready.
Yeah.
So if your partner is like, why won't you talk about? Then if that was me and I was like, I don't want to talk about it, and then my partner kept going, but like that's a red flag, because then you're not respecting a boundary that I've clearly set out for you to say. That's off limits. Let's not talk about it. If they then bring it up again in 6 months, I'm like, stop bringing it up. Whenever you're ready to bring something up and talk about a situation,
I guess you just need to create like a comfortable environment and then like let them flourish in like their own way.
Yeah, exactly. And then constantly pushing someone to like have a certain conversation is not creating a very comfortable environment for them.
Have you ever been with a chick with a higher body count than yours, or a high body count in general? And how have you felt about that? Has it ever been something that's like...
I don't know the body count of any girl that I've ever
really?
been with. No.
None? Well, fair.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
But
no.
like in a conversation when they've asked you, you've never just asked as like part of the... They've been like, what's your body? And you say it and you're like, yours? Yeah. You don't even ask back?
No.
Oh, fair.
No.
You're not curious?
I think probably the only 2 body counts I knew at the time, I knew because I was there first.
So
one.
it was one.
Or a 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never, like, I can't even think. Maybe I have been told, but I can't even think off the top of my head if I've ever been told one. I can't, and if I have, I can't recall being told a number and thinking that's high.
Yeah. Well,
because for me, if you do the maths, if you start having sex at 16 and you're almost 30, that's like 14 years. And even if you're over 100, that's like 5 a year, if even. Less than 5 a year. Less than 5 a year? 15 years?
5 a year?
Less than 5 a year?
Oh, right, yeah. I was trying to work out the maths of that. What?
Don't know.
That's completely wrong. 100,
10 a year.
years. Yeah,
10 a year.
Like 10. Like 8 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's really, really
and that's
like
very, very small.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been single,
That's
traveling, whatever.
Yeah.
So someone actually sent something in, which I think is a very good point whenever you compare society's judgment of women who have higher body counts compared to men. And obviously, we've talked about this before, that we think that the reason why subconsciously women are judged more for having a higher body count, which they shouldn't be, but because they're judged higher is because within the world of dating and pursuing, 9 times out of 10, the men are the ones that pursue in order to, I guess, have sex with a woman.
Yeah, like men hunt, women choose.
Yeah. We have to approach women pretty much too. So in the grand scheme of things, if a man has, let's say 100, for argument's sake, 100 people on his list that he's slept with, he's probably been rejected like over 500 times in order to get to the 100.
Yeah.
Whereas within life, and we know this because we know girls who decide that they're going to have sex before they go out and they have sex. You know what I mean? Yeah, so we know like based on even our friendship groups and even people that I know through other people, like girls can make a decision to have sex and they can go out and have sex like that. So I think the reason why subconsciously society judges women higher is because there's less of a chase and there's less of like work that quote unquote work that needs to be done to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a weird one.
It's more like stuffing yourself at a buffet. You know?
Yeah. So someone sent in, especially when women, where there is generally a more emotional attachment when it comes to relationships, men are not obviously exempt from this. It can be detrimental to mental health, sleeping around a lot. A high body count may indicate an inability to pair bond. Large amounts of emotional baggage. This may also indicate the individual sees people as disposable pleasures rather than meaningful pursuits.
Is this if a woman is sleep like?
This can be both, but I think this is just in general.
Okay.
As well as there is a stigma attached. It may not be a good thing. We are so judged on our body count, especially women. We can create more positive conversations around it, but we are inevitably judged, seen as historically a woman's fidelity has been a determination of how pure, quote unquote, pure she is, and is a biological indicator as to how fit she is to carry and raise a person's kid. The less she's slept around, the higher the likelihood the kids are yours. It's something that has inherently bothered a lot of men. It's also a reason women always hide their numbers because of the stigma around it. And seeing as it is generally much harder for men to get laid compared to women, a high body count with a woman may indicate a lack of self-control. I do think high promiscuity is ultimately detrimental to a person's mental health, despite whether you are male or female.
I think there's definitely like a lot of judgment. I know that like when I was younger, like, you know, it would be something that like I would say when I was in my like, you know, young 20s. But like, yeah, definitely, you know, definitely not something I think now. But yeah, I think there's like a lot of judgment, especially like from a guy who would sleep around a lot and then hears a bird who's doing it. It's like, oh, that's just, you know, fucking, you know, that's just gross or whatever it is. And I've never wifey that, or I've never like date someone like that. And I'm just like, I don't know, like someone can choose to do what they want to do.
And then it's none of your business.
No, it's none of your business. I know from like both counts, men or women who have very high body counts. This is from just my experience. There's usually some issues going on there. Like very, very high. There's usually something you're trying to fill. Something you're chasing. There's issues that you've had. That's like very high.
Yeah.
Medium is like you're just like having fun. It happens. You're on a night out. Like you chat to someone, you go home. But someone who's like chasing 24/7, there's something that you're like missing.
Yeah, there's definitely
like a void.
There's like definitely a psychological component there. Whenever people have extremely high body counts,
that's my first thought. What's happened?
It's because they're yearning for a connection, and it could be a stage or a elongated stage in life where they had the inability to provide emotional connection or even receive it. So in order to fill that void and that yearn for that connection, the physical connection, the very small hit of dopamine that you get from sex, actually quite a large hit of dopamine that you get from sex, you're going to be getting that with those very like surface level encounters. And it's also probably a standpoint of, more so for men, that the idea of being able to sleep with a lot of women is like an external validation kind of thing I think
what like lads don't realise is that, you know, in our younger years especially, it's definitely promoted quite heavily that if you sleep with loads of women, you're like, you know, legend,
you're the lad,
you're a star, you're one of the boys. And I think what blokes don't realise, probably until you're older, is like, there's no finish line. Like no one's waiting at the end to give you a medal.
Yeah, no.
Like it's not going to get you a better seat on a plane. It's not going to give you a free meal at a 5-star restaurant.
Depends who you're sleeping with.
It depends who you're sleeping with. But like, that validation never comes. That like finish line never comes. You're like, finally, I've got to this number or that number or this number. It's never like, oh, I made it. That never happens. And then it's only as you get older, you start realizing that, you know. Like, and there's nothing wrong with sleeping with chicks. There's nothing wrong with going around sleeping around. But there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I think the older you get, it's not as much of like maybe a quantity thing, but a quality
thing. Yeah.
But one of my mates, he did say, one of the lads, he was like, quantity is a quality. I was like, fair play.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah, fair play.
That's funny.
For some, that definitely can be true.
But there's also, and a few people made this point as well, that they would rather their partner have somewhat of a respectable body count.
What's a respectful body count though? Is that just in relation to theirs?
Is that like subjective?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they prefer the idea that their partner has actually enjoyed life a little bit.
Should I close? Oh, it's not
ventured out into the world and I guess experienced multiple women, because then from their standpoint, at least whenever they've chosen them, that they've already got it out of their system, there's not that yearn to wonder, is there more out there?
I feel the exact same. Like I completely appreciate that, understand it and back
100%.
It. Like when I was, you know, when I've been single and I've slept around with people, it's given me like an understanding of what I like, what I don't like. And for a lot of people, it's hard to have that unless you do it. If you're always eating the same meal over and over and over and over again, you never pick up a taste for anything else. You really don't know what else you like. Same for anything, hobbies, interests, you know, if you never change and never, you know, jump into something new, you're never really going to know. So yeah, definitely sleeping around and, you know, being single and doing that has its place in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you're in like a relationship and, you know, if I was with a chick who had only slept with like 2 guys, I don't know, like I'd maybe in the back of my mind think, have they experienced any, you know?
I'd be like that.
Have they had that, like any of like those experiences? Do they really know what they like? Do they know what they're into? Like, if all they've had is a long-term relationship and they're now just dating me, like, did you just jump into this because you don't like being on your own? Like,
And that happens a lot.
Yeah, there's a certain, like, knowledge that comes with
being single. Yeah.
Like, it is. And, like, you know, people go, oh, life isn't just all about sex. It's like, well, it's not, but it's about, you know, there's a experience that comes with sleeping around, because quite often you'll go on dates to do that, or you'll speak to random people at parties, engage in flirting, sexual chemistry.
It's not even about
the actual, like, sex of it.
Yeah,
but it's like,
but it's not even about the
things.
sex though, because the dynamic of how you live your life and how you approach your life is so different whenever you're single compared to when you're in a relationship. Even, for example, just going on holidays with the lads. Or in a group where pretty much everyone's in a relationship.
The boys.
Yeah, like how we approach the holiday, how we approach drinking, how we approach nights out, it's like chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
It's a complete opposite. So
very different.
Very, very different holiday. So it's not even about the sex aspect, it's about how you approach life. Like, whenever you're single and you go on a holiday or you're out on a party, you're going to go up and talk to loads of people. You're going to talk to loads of girls. You're going to learn new things about different girls and learn how to communicate differently to suit that particular person.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in a long-term relationship or in a relationship in general, you're not doing that. You're not going to a party and chatting to girls, learning how to, like, flirt or communicate, and learning the aspects of women and people that you like and you don't like, because that's not what you're looking for. So I think even if you were to take the sex out of it, just the way
the experience.
Just the way you experience and go through life when it comes to, like, conversationally with the opposite sex, it's very, very, very different. Because even talking over social media, you can tell when a girl's become single, because the way it's weird, you can just sense the energy change whenever you're typing to them. Just like, oh, the vibe feels different in terms of how the conversation's flowing between someone. Like, if I've had a few girls on my Instagram who are in relationships, and then obviously haven't spoken to them in fucking ages, and then randomly they just, like, respond to my story, and then I'd respond back, and then instantly I was like, I bet you she's single. Within, like, a couple of messages, and then I would ask, it was like, you're single, aren't you? They're like, yeah. And it's just like the energy change and how you approach everything, I think, is very, very different.
I think a lot of people who would listen to this, or there would some be people on TikTok who would probably go, you're only saying that because you live in, like, a Western society. And it's like, well, we do live in a Western society. Like, that's the environment
we're talking from our standpoint.
Exactly. That's the environment we have grown up in. I can't, live my life like I live in,
But what would be the difference in a different society?
I know in certain cultures, in some parts of the world, it's like there isn't the same kind of, like, culture that we would have. So it's like you find one person, you marry them, you live the rest of your life like that. Yeah. It doesn't have, like, the same kind of.
That'd be a horrible point to make if someone made that comment.
I just know it will. Like, it will. Someone will say
it's
it.
Like,
I just know someone's going to say it. I just be like, what? I do live in a Western society. What do you want me to do about it? I can only give my experience and, like, my beliefs and, like, what I've grown up around. But yeah, what else? Were there any other comments you got in from that?
Someone said they think, as much as they like the idea that it's great to sleep around, they think people who are in long-term relationships usually are a lot better at sex. And I think I agree with that, generally speaking. Because I think what happens is whenever, especially if someone's just always after chasing, just looking for sex, I think the main goal is not to fully pleasure the other person. A lot of the times, if it's a one-night stand, a lot of men, and probably women as well, the main goal is never to, like, fully pleasure them. It's just to get your end away and leave. Whereas when you're in a relationship, the expectation is that both of you are going to have a great time. Or if you have been in a relationship for a long time and you become single, all you should have really known anyway is that you're trying to pleasure your girlfriend to the fullest.
My first long-term relationship, I would have said it was shit. Like, looking back now, from 17 to 21, I probably didn't know what I was doing.
You're 17 to 21.
Right, no, but you're saying in terms of, like, long-term relationships. So it's only but then I got into my second one. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like completely agree with that. I think that depending on your age, when you do get into that relationship, you've got more experience to know what to invest into that person in the bedroom. But like if you've just been with someone your whole life, you may be used to just like one type of person, and maybe neither of you know any different of like what can be achieved. So I don't think it's completely black and white.
I think it's, well, obviously none of this is black and white.
Yeah.
Everything's subjective when you're talking about dating and relationships and all that. But I think from the standpoint where she was coming from is that whenever you're in a long-term relationship, well, anyway, you should. This is what you should be doing anyway.
Yeah, it should be the standard.
If you're in a long-term relationship, you should be trying to explore every aspect of sex. You shouldn't be just having the same one. So from that standpoint, it's like if you've been with someone for 4 or 5 years, you would assume that you'd have tried loads of different things. Obviously, like you're saying, when you're 17, 21, it wasn't great, but that's probably because you weren't trying.
Probably didn't
anything
realise
different.
that until like I finished it, and then I was like, oh wow, that was probably quite shit. Yeah.
But like, the idea is that you should be trying different things. But again, as you said, comes down to the age thing. At the age of 17, whatever, all you were doing was trying to last longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was literally the only thing. So I think it comes with experience. There's caveats to that, because at the end of the day, as you said, long-term relationships can be quite stale and the sex can not be good. But then also you could get lucky being single and still have like really... For me, it's always been a lot better whenever there's more of an emotional connection with the person.
Oh, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. And definitely like something... It's just great. Like whenever I think about me now compared to like 5 years ago, I'm like, fuck, my beliefs, my perspectives are so different when it comes to dating now. It's just such a completely different mindset and understanding and like what I want, what I need. And yeah, definitely. Now it's like, an emotional connection is definitely, it's like, when you're casually dating, I'm always like, if someone's good in bed, but there's no chat, I'll probably just sleep with them once.
Yeah.
But it's like, if they've got chat, like, well, I casually date them for a while.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're good in bed, it doesn't qualify anymore that I'm going to sleep with you more than once. Like, it's so boring.
You need more than that.
Yeah, I'd rather just have a wank. Like, I'm like, what's the point? Like, I've got to entertain you. You're fucking boring, and it's just like,
it's the
like, it's half an hour
fault.
or whatever in the bedroom, but I'm like, it's just boring. Like,
I get that. I'd be like that as well. I have been like that.
Like I've done it so many times where I've just kept seeing this person or these people because of that, and then it got to a point and I was like, I am so bored.
Well, also there's nothing worse than feeling
fulfilling.
like you're having to like, it's like feels like a chore.
Yeah.
When you're about to hang out with someone, it's like, oh my god.
Straight away post sex, I'm just like PNC. I'm like, fuck off. I don't say it, but in my mind I'm like, I really just don't want you to be here. But I'm like, oh, we've got like another 4 hours till sleep, and then like, oh, you'll leave in the morning.
Can't believe you're using this woman for a body and nothing else.
I know. Some people just have awful chat. Being good in bed does not qualify.
No.
It doesn't. It's not everything anymore.
No, it's not. It's
especially the older you get. Like,
the older you get,
care.
the less, the more things that needs to be there in order 100%. For you to actually have an elongated sense of time with that person. But I think that's us.
I did have one voice note come in. We're going to cover this. It was we have spoke about this before, but it was, I thought, if this person listens or if anyone else is listening, it's always an interesting topic. This girl, she sent me a voice note and she was like, do you think it's an issue to sleep with someone on the first date? And was like, do men need to chase? Like, because she's had experiences before where she's been on dates with guys and she's had sex with them on the first date and then they've got bored and then they've left. So she doesn't know what to do. She's like, do they need the chase? They not need the chase? What am I doing wrong? And I think that to answer that question, you really have to like take them out of the equation and just ask yourself, what do you want out of this situation? Mm-hmm. Do you want to have sex on the first date? Because you just need to do what's important to you. Yeah. And if you're going to go on a date with someone, they judge you because of that, then they're probably not going to be someone that you should date anyway. Yeah. And I think this is like the whole, smoke screen in front of the issue that people are actually having. That sleep with someone or don't sleep with someone on the first date. But if you're on a date with someone and that's an issue for them or that's even something that they're questioning, you're looking for the wrong kind of person. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck if someone sleeps with you on the first date. I don't even think about it. It's not an issue if they do or they don't. But yeah, I think that so many women, it's because it's seen, like you're a slag, like you don't give a fuck and all this kind of stuff. But it's like, you know, like I said, if you're with someone who's going to think that, and then you're with the wrong kind of person.
They would have left either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if a guy gets bored, quote unquote bored, after he slept with you in the first date, he'd have probably gotten bored after the first, second, or the second, third, or fourth date.
Are they judging you because they sleep with you on the first date? Are they like, oh, she gave it up to you? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, she fucking bit easy, gave it to me on the first date. It's like,
I don't know any guys I don't know any guys that would.
I've heard some lads talk like that before, and I'm just
as in like they would have continued to date her if they didn't get it on the first date.
Oh, like, you know, fucking, I would want to go on with them to hold out. It's just like, why do they like?
No, wait, no. So, what? So does the guy want the girl? What?
To hold out, yeah. So a guy will have like less of an opinion if he's on a date with someone and she gives it up on the first date. He's like, oh, do you want to come back tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. He's like, oh, she's a bit easy. But
does he want to date her though? He just wants to sleep with her.
Well, that's the thing. She said to me, she's like, do lads want a chase? I feel like I'm being judged if I do end up sleeping with them on the first date.
I don't think it's that. I think they just want to shag. I don't think the first, second, or third date would have changed anything.
Well, like I've met lads who have like had an opinion where they're like, a girl that sleeps with them on the first date, they wouldn't even consider to date them because of that. And I'm like, that's just a bit. It's just like, why? What's the issue? Like, I don't even know why that would be something you would judge someone on.
So if they slept, would they have had the intention of dating them initially at the first date? Well, for some
lads, that's like a qualifying or qualify out. That's like, or if they say yes to that, I've now got to rethink this.
I don't think they were interested in the first place.
Well,
I think they're just
exactly. I'm like, if that's a qualifying thing for them,
they're
probably not someone you should waste your time on.
And they weren't interested in the girl in the first place.
That's very flaky, like, opinions to be having. It's like, what else are they going to judge you on? What else are they going to suddenly like lose interest on you on? If someone's going to judge you on whether you shag or don't shag on the first date, like, fuck them off. They're a child.
Yeah.
And they just need to grow up. Because it's like, you can't expect to shag someone on a first date or want to, and then because they do give it up, you have less of an opinion of them. It's like, how does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
weird.
Nah. But yeah, so to that, anyone that is listening, if you're ever thinking that, you're probably dating the wrong kind of people.
Correct.
But yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Peace out. I'm going to go for a dip now, get a nice massage, no happy ending, and stay safe.
Stay safe.
Enjoy.